What's up, guys? Welcome back to VanLife Mama. Today I wanted to record the video overviewing all the campgrounds that I stayed at my 3-week long road trip to the East Coast, as well as go over the expenses that I had on the trip. So let's start. I have all the information on my laptop. Okay, so first place was South River Brewing Company. Technically, this place is free to stay at, but you do have to pay $99 for a yearly membership with Harvest Host, and it's always customary to purchase something from your Harvest Host when you stay with a Harvest Host. While we were there, my father spent $20 for some beer, so let's essentially say the campsite was $20. Now, like most Harvest Hosts, there were no amenities here. You have to be a self-contained unit, meaning having to have your own bathroom and everything. There was lots of space to park, very level, more than enough room for the truck, the fifth wheel, and the minivan. There was one thing about staying at the brewery that I didn't mind so much, but my sons didn't like very much, is there's a smell that comes from the back of the brewery. Like, obviously, there's going to be smells. They're brewing alcohol, right? And it wasn't overly pleasant. So as long as you don't mind a little bit of a smell, South River Brewing Company was a good place to stay. The hosts were very nice. I would recommend staying there. So our next campground was in the Ottawa area. We stayed at Wesley Clover Campground. I like this campground. The spaces were a good size. I like how it's kind of organized into little clusters of sites instead of just one big open campground. Bathrooms were nice. They had free Wi-Fi hotspots. There's not Wi-Fi at all the campsites. You do have to go to a hotspot location to get the Wi-Fi, but it's still available, which is nice. Now, we paid $60 for a site at Wesley Clover, but divide that by 2 because me and my parents split the cost, so it was $35 for me to stay there. If you want to be close to the Ottawa area, I highly recommend Wesley Clover. It was very nice, very well organized, nice place to stay. Next, we stayed at the KOA, Quebec City Holiday in Lévis. Can't beat it for the proximity to Old Quebec. It's a beautiful campground if you like KOAs. I personally prefer not to stay at KOAs just because they're expensive. You do get amenities for that price, but it's just not the type of camping I like to do. But if you have little kids, they have a bouncing pillow. They had a beautiful park, a splash pad, beautiful pool with a water slide. Very nice, very clean facilities. Beautiful campground, gorgeous. The people in the office were very nice. It is expensive. I myself stayed on a tent site in the minivan. It was $51.75. That gave me electricity and water. I think my parents' campsite, though, for their fifth wheel was $75 for the night. So again, pricey, but beautiful. But as far as campgrounds go that have proximity to Old Quebec, there's just not very many options. So if you want to be near Old Quebec, stay at the Quebec City KOA. Okay, now the next campground is Island View Campground in St. Andrews, New Brunswick. We stayed at this campground for 2 nights. It was a nice campground. There were just some things about it that I didn't particularly like. Some of the positives are it's right on the ocean. Beautiful view of the water and the sunsets. It had 2 pools, although not in different parts of the campground. They're actually right beside each other. The sites were a fair size, full hookups. So the bads were, the campground's really hilly, which is generally fine. But what the roads are made up of is like a loose gravel. So my father actually got stuck going up one of the hills with the fifth wheel. He had to back down, which is not a good thing. And then when we got to our campsite, it's also that like really loose, bad gravel. And he had a hard time backing up the fifth wheel with the truck. It also had one of my biggest pet peeves at any campground, and that is coin showers. I hate places that make their campers pay for a shower. I can see making unregistered campers pay for a shower, but somebody who's paid for a campsite, you should not have coin showers. That's my opinion. So I don't like places that have that. There's no Wi-Fi, so my kids didn't like that. I really didn't care very much. And the beach wasn't swimmable. Now the pools were okay, but I don't know if maybe they're older. They seemed a little bit grimy and the water was hazy. I didn't really enjoy swimming in them, and they were very busy. Like, this campground is mainly made up of seasonal campers, and the seasonal campers were very nice to us, but it didn't feel very clean. But it is in very close proximity to St. Andrews. There is another campground in St. Andrews that is run by the Kiwanis Club called Oceanfront Camping. That campground I very much enjoy staying at, and when I go to the St. Andrews area, usually I stay there, but because of COVID, they were only allowing their seasonals to be in the campground, and they were not taking any transients. But from now on, when I go into the St. Andrews area, as long as it's open, I'll be staying at the Kiwanis Oceanfront instead of Island View Campground. So the cost for Island View was $89.70 for 2 nights. Now, after Island View, we headed into Prince Edward Island to Summerside. We stayed at Crystal Beach Campground. I liked Crystal Beach. The only thing, I think Crystal Beach wouldn't have felt as nice if we didn't have 3 sites right next to each other. Some of the sites were pretty cramped, but because we had 3 sites all in a group, we had tons of space. The sunsets from the beach at Crystal Beach were absolutely beautiful. Some of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. The beach isn't really swimmable. It's good to like wade around in and splash around, but not like swim. The pool was very nice, very brand new deck, brand new pool, very clean. I very much enjoyed their pool, and I liked that it had like a deep end that was, I think it went to 6 feet, which is nice because I like to just tread water. The facilities were nice, the showers were nice, the bathrooms were nice. They just need a little bit of updating, but they were very clean. The laundry was good. My son appreciated having the canteen at the office because he could just go get a poutine whenever he wanted. The owners were very nice. The people who worked there were very nice. There were a couple of times that the power at my father's site had gone out, so they just called the office, and within like 5 minutes there was somebody there to fix it, so it was really good. So the cost for Crystal Beach was $300 for the week, which I think is phenomenal. $300 for the entire week. Usually we stay in a cottage and we pay twice that much, if not triple. That's full hookups, and they had a deal going on where stay 6 nights, get the 7th free. So we only paid for 6 nights and we stayed for 7. Would highly recommend Crystal Beach Campground. I enjoyed it very much. So after Crystal Beach, we headed to Pictou, Nova Scotia. We stayed at Seafoam Campground. Seafoam had a beautiful beach, and that's about all I'm going to say about it. I know a lot of campgrounds in Canada are set up this way. I do not like campgrounds that stuff you in like sardines. The sites were so small and cramped. I did not like it at all. My parents didn't like it at all either. Again, paid showers, which is one of my biggest pet peeves at a campground, is paid showers. I hate that. The bathrooms were nice. They had laundry facility. They had a store that had like ice cream and you could get like frozen pizzas and stuff that you could make up. But I don't know, it's just, I felt claustrophobic at that campground because everything was just packed in so tight. The beach is the best aspect of that campground. The beach is gorgeous. It was nice to swim at. The water was nice. We paid $108 for 3 nights at Seafoam. So we split that, so I paid half of 180, so I paid $54 for 3 nights. Next we went to Edmundston, New Brunswick, and we stayed at, it's called Camping Edmundston Campground. Now this is a campground that's in transition right now. Some new owners just took it over and they are working to do upgrades on it. So when you come here right now, there's not really much for bathroom or shower facilities. There's like one shower for the whole campground and like one or two bathrooms at most. So that's busy, but like I said, they're in transition. They're building a beautiful new shower and bath house at the campground, so that problem will be remedied. Nice sized sites. Thank you, Camping Edmundston, for actually having decent sized sites where you don't feel like you're crammed in to each other. I really appreciated that. It doesn't have a beach, it is on a river, but they have done a really nice job of making the riverfront really cute. Like, you go down there, they have like a volleyball net, and they have different tables that you can sit at that have like tiki hut umbrellas on them, and the river is good to like just splash around in and cool off. They're doing a really good job with it. I would like to see it when it's fully done, but I would recommend staying there. The owners were very nice. So we paid $41 for Camping Edmundston, divided by 2. So I paid $20.50 for a night there. That's the place where we had our horse neighbors show up. So if you have horses and you're looking for somewhere to stay, as long as you have your own portable like paddock, they'll let you stay with horses, which was really cool thing to see pulling next to us at the campground. Next, we went to a campground just outside of Sherbrooke, Quebec, in Magog, Quebec. It was called Parc Entry. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but this was a beautiful park. Sites were a good size, and there were a lot of sites. This is a huge campground. Very nice pool, very nice bathrooms, very nice facilities, full hookups. Where we were staying, they do have some sites that are not full hookups, but most are full hookups. The only thing, for how nice this campground is though, they also had pay showers, which I don't like, but I guess it's because most people have full hookups and they assume you're going to shower in your trailer. But the vibe that I got from this campground was, it felt like a 55 and older community. It's made up halfly of a campground with trailers and seasonal trailers, and half of like mobile homes, tiny houses kind of place. And it feels, there's a lot of seniors there. It feels like that vibe, like when I'm in Arizona to visit my grandmother and she lived in a 55 up community. That's the vibe it gave off. Which was great. It was nice and quiet. I didn't mind it. It was a beautiful campground, but if you're not into that kind of 55 up vibe, then stay away. But otherwise, it was a good campground. It was expensive though. For one night, it was $75, which my father paid for that campground and I paid for the next campground. So for one night, it was expensive. And then our final campground was Mule Lake Campground in Algonquin Park. This is a very nice campground. The sites were huge, not full hookups, you just get power. It's on a beautiful lake called Mule Lake, and I love being in the middle of nature. It was just very nice campground to stay at. It was also expensive, but of course it's going to be expensive. It's in Algonquin Park. So it was $64.67 to stay at that campground. It did have brand new bathrooms and shower facilities, and it actually had a laundry, which I've stayed at a lot of provincial campgrounds in Ontario and even in the States. And I've never seen a provincial campground that had laundry before. So that was nice to see. There's no dumping station at Mule Lake, so if you're going to Mule Lake, be warned, you have to go to the Rock Lake campground to dump if you need to. So just keep that in mind if you're booking at Mule Lake. So altogether for accommodations, for 19 days of travel, I spent $610 on accommodations. Now for gas, I drove approximately 5,400 kilometers, let's say 5,500 with driving around in the little cities, just doing little errands here and there. I spent $448.62 on gas. Most of the time when there was one available, If there was a Costco gas station, that's where I gassed up, because Costco gas stations are much cheaper than everywhere else. But Costco gas stations do not have diesel, so my father was unable to gas up at Costco. So if you have diesel, sorry, you can't gas up at Costco gas stations. But it saved me a ton of money. So when I didn't gas up at a Costco gas station, I was gassing up at any Canadian Tire gas bar I could find, because I have a Canadian Tire MasterCard and I use that for all my gas. So some of the other little expenses that we had on the trip was the ferry from Lévis to Old Quebec. That was $26 round trip for 4 people, so that was pretty good. Our whale tour in St. Andrews. Whale tours are pricey, more than worth the money. I would pay for a whale tour if it was twice as much. But for the 3 of us, me and my 2 sons, it was $230 for the whale tour. Would highly recommend, though, go on a whale tour. You'll love it. Now, groceries for the 3 weeks, including mine and the boys' snack boxes, was $294.56. But that saved us on eating out. I think we only ate out 3 times in the entire 3 weeks, so that saved us a lot of money. So eating out, we ate out at Lobster Shack, Cavendish Lobster Shack, for a lobster poutine. We went to McDonald's coming back from Ludington, and we went to McDonald's on our way home. So no, we went to Burger King on our way home. So all together for 3 weeks of eating out, I spent $142. Now the bridge coming over from Prince Edward Island, you have to pay for one way, so you don't pay when you go over. You have to over to the island, but you do have to pay when you leave the island, and that cost was $48.50. So altogether on the trip, I spent $1,799.68 for 3 weeks of being on the road and on the East Coast. Now, obviously, you can make this a lot cheaper. This is also for 3 people. So if you have one person, you can make it cheaper. Now, if I was traveling on my own, just in the minivan, this trip would have been a lot cheaper, because I would have stayed at mainly Harvest Host or Crownland or free spots, where my father is unable to do in the fifth wheel. So if you're traveling in a van like I am, solo, this trip could be a lot cheaper. Plus, you could take away some of the variables that I had. You didn't have to go spend you don't have to spend $142 on eating out. You can not eat out at all. You don't have to spend $230 on a whale tour. You can do this entire trip for probably less than $1,000. So there's just a lot of variables that you can change to make this kind of trip fit your budget. So I'll give you guys my favorite campground and my least favorite campground on the trip. So I have to say my favorite campground was probably Mule Lake Campground. I like campgrounds that really embrace the nature around them. It gave you lots of space at your site. You didn't feel claustrophobic. The lake was absolutely gorgeous. The facilities were good. 110% I would stay at Mule Lake again. Now, my least favorite campground would probably be Seafoam, unfortunately. I can't stay in places where the sites are that cramped. I don't feel comfortable. Plus, with the paid showers too, and it's just not a place that I felt comfortable staying at. So if I was ever in the Pictou area again, I would not be staying there. There is a very nice provincial park in the Pictou area called Munro Caribou Provincial Park. Caribou Munro Provincial Park, I believe. I have stayed there before, and it's a very nice campground with very nice size sites, but we couldn't stay there this time because there was availability for a van my size, but no availability for the fifth wheel. So we had to find somewhere that could accommodate the fifth wheel. But if you're in the Pictou area and you're looking for a campground, Munro Caribou Provincial Park is very nice. You can stay there. Okay, so that's my breakdown of our 3-week road trip from Northern Ontario to the East Coast of Canada. Stay tuned. We have some more adventures coming up in October and November, and if the border to the US ever opens, we'll have more adventures coming up even sooner than that. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Dream, journey, adventure.